What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. Now, I know you hear, oh, he's going to release the files. Look, practically everybody's getting in on saying every bit of positive news around this, these files is him releasing all the files. I saw CoffeeZilla release a video last night that got 1 million views that said, he's releasing everything. He's not. But it seems like the pressure campaign on Donald Trump to release these files has netted some gains. In fact, he has now told Pam Bondi to seek the release of any and all pertinent grand jury testimony around the investigation. Now, I think people are rightfully concerned about the word pertinent there, but let's look into this. I'm going to break my own rule for Friday only a little bit, just because I never, this is a big announcement. Huge shout out to Coffee Brand Coffee, my coffee company. The tangerine and cherry cordial K-Cups are 25% off. I highly recommend trying them out. Then all of our other K-Cups are at least 10% off. On top of that, we've released our summer flavors, which I didn't even hype up. This Tiger's Blood flavor is so good, and the Blackberry Cream is so good. Both are linked in the description. I'm telling you, Tiger's Blood will be our #1 seller this time next year. If you like flavored coffee, you absolutely have to try it. When I told you when Blueberry Cobbler was good, you know how good that turned out? This is ridiculous. And as a summer blend, it's out of this world. So coffee brand, or, cold brew. So coffeebrandcoffee.com. Please do check that out. So Trump asked Bondi to seek release of any and all pertinent grand jury testimony around the investigation. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to Jeffrey, I have asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. Trump wrote in a Truth Social post last night. This scam perpetuated by the Democrats should end now. Bondi quickly responded to Trump's comments on X and wrote, President Trump, we are ready to move the court tomorrow to unseal the grand jury transcripts. Now, I understand being black-pilled, doom-pilled, because literally every time, there's not a lot to expect. And I think that it's reasonable for people to be like, yeah, but what about arrest? And what about the client list? And what about, and what about, and what about? I agree with all of that. But the fact of the matter is, it's something. And it seems like people who, it seems like the pressure works. And we know this works, right? For people who are really concerned about CoffeeZilla not saying that, the title of his latest video is It's All Coming Out. I don't really know. I mean, I like CoffeeZilla. I think he has a lot of integrity, but I'm just saying, I use that as an example. Basically, the reaction to from every YouTuber is, oh, everything's coming out. That's not actually the case. But the grand jury testimony coming out is good. Now, Trump orders the Department of Justice to release the grand jury testimony. That's good. I think that's overall a good thing, right? The Wall Street Journal is trying to take credit for it. The Wall Street Journal is trying to take credit for it because they released that ridiculous birthday card thing, which is obviously nothing. Trump calls for the release of pertinent grand jury material following the Wall Street Journal article. Now, I want to say, leave a like in the video if you agree. I'm 100% with this, except the word pertinent. I really, 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 really want him to just release everything. Let us decide what's pertinent and what's not. You know what I mean? Because maybe Donald Trump doesn't think this is important, or maybe Pam Bondi doesn't think it's important. But why pick through anything, really? You know what I mean? Just let it all out there so that people don't have any questions about it. Now, certainly there's more than just the grand jury testimony that we want, but it's a start. Trump on a Thursday night social post releasing these documents became a rallying cry for many of Trump's top allies during the Biden administration and the 2024 presidential campaign. Trump, who socialized with Jeffrey in the past, said during his campaign that he would release additional details about the investigation. Last week, the Justice Department incensed many of Trump's political base when it said in a memo that a thorough review had turned up no list of clients, nor any additional documents that warrant public disclosure. Far-right media figures have long alleged a government cover-up in this case. Well, I mean, isn't it true that both the Democrats and the Republicans, they are both calling for this release? This is a universal call from both sides of the aisle to have these files released. Now, the grand jury testimony is subject to secrecy protections and faces potentially high hurdles for public release. It constitutes not only a portion of the Jeffrey-related material in the government's possession, it constitutes only a portion. Hundreds of FBI employees have worked long shifts this year examining such material for possible release. In previous declarations filed in court, disgraced former prosecutor Maureen Comey outlined a tranche of government records, including witness statements, background materials, law enforcement interviews, business records, grand jury subpoenas, and internal FBI analysis. I'm not very curious about whatever internal FBI analysis is, given James Comey ran it. But what I want to see is just the raw files. Let us decide. Cut out any pictures of kids, obviously, but let us decide, right? Let us decide what's pertinent and what's not, because if you don't, then they're just going to be more questions anyway. So it's never going to go away unless you just kind of release it all and say, I don't care if he says, hey, this is a bunch of pointless bookkeeping nonsense. It's like, well, just release it so that people aren't saying, hey, where's all the rest of it? On Wednesday, the Justice Department fired Comey, daughter of federal prosecutor, former Federal Bureau of Investigator Director James Comey, who was involved in prosecutions of both Jeffrey and Ghislaine Maxwell. Earlier this week, Trump criticized his own supporters for opposing his administration decision not to release more material from the administration. Here's why I will say, I'll also say, Trump asked why the Democrats didn't release the files if there was a smoking gun. I think that's a very fair question. Here's what he had to say.
Democrats for 4 years. You had
this is very fair.
Told you this was a hoax. What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the Attorney General. No, I know it's a hoax. It's started by Democrats. It's been run by the Democrats for 4 years. You had Christopher Wray and these characters and Comey before him. And it's a bad group. It started, actually, look at the Steele dossier that turned out to be a total hoax. The 51 agents, the intelligence, so-called intelligence agents, it was a hoax. It's all been a big hoax. It's perpetrated by the Democrats. And some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
Not great.
And so they try and do the Democrats' work. The United States.
Well, we saw that. I thought maybe, if there was a smoking gun on Jeffrey, why didn't the Democrats, who controlled the files for 4 years and had former Attorney General Merrick Garland and ex-prosecutor Maureen Comey in charge of it, Trump wrote on Truth Social. He added, because they had nothing. I actually think this is fair. If there was a smoking gun on Jeffrey, why didn't the Democrats, who controlled the files for 4 years and Garland and Comey in charge, use it? Because they had nothing. Yes, that's true. But I just think you just release it, right? You just release it. Just release it and let everyone else decide what's important, what's not important. And you see here, I look forward to getting Rupert Murdoch to testify in my lawsuit against him and his pile of garbage newspaper, the Wall Street Journal. That will be an interesting experience. That's because the Wall Street Journal released basically nothing. oh, Trump allegedly sent a birthday card, you know, who he says is fake. It doesn't even sound like something he would write or sound like something he would send, to be honest. It doesn't even sound like his signature. He wrote this to start it all. Based on the ridiculous amount of publicity given to it, I've asked Pam Bondi to produce any and all pertinent grand jury testimony subject to court approval. This scam perpetuated by Democrats should end right now. Yeah, I think it's good. You know, isn't it strange that Comey's daughter gets canned? She is the one who had the testimony sealed, and now Pam can have it unsealed. Checkmate. Our president's the best. Yeah, maybe they had to fire her to get rid of it. Maybe they had to fire her to clear the way. It's difficult to know for sure, but I can tell you, if we get these grand jury documents later today, I'll go live and discuss what's in them. By the way, if you're a YouTube only viewer, please do remember all my live streams are moved to Quartering Live, youtube.com/ or if you just search Quartering Live, one word, you'll find it. I'll leave the link in the description below, but please do subscribe to that if you're a YouTube only viewer and you want to keep up on the live streams, which are Monday through Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and basically weekends now too. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I remain cautiously optimistic. We'll have to see what he releases. We'll talk to you again real soon.